was just that I was noticing that I was feeling a little bit tired. You didn't get sick for a couple days after that. I peaked with my symptoms the next day, and I was so sick for about 24 hours. I had to take so much fever reducer. I probably took, I don't know, like the maximum dose that you're allowed to take without a doctor's prescription. And even then, my fever was not going down.
Betty White once said, "It's not easy being a mom. If it were easy being a mom, then dads would do it." So I made that video because it's true sometimes that being a mother, it feels like for the first time, I didn't really get to enjoy being sick. And what I mean by that is you get to take off from work, you get to sit down in your bed and watch movies all day. And when you have a toddler, that's not really the case. If you have kids, that's not really the case. You just continue with life even if you don't feel good. With Xiaohilong, this whole entire illness only lasted a couple weeks, but the impacts of the pandemic will stay with him potentially for a lifetime because he grew up in a pandemic with really no end in sight. My heart just breaks for the kids because I feel like there's no easy answers. Obviously, it's very dangerous and he could get very sick, but at the same time, he's lost out on so many opportunities. We've just had to be more careful.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel, Black Dragon and Tiffany. Today, we have a very serious topic. We actually caught COVID-19 and we want to share our story with you guys today. A couple weeks ago now, we saw our friends. We all ate dinner together. We don't know who got COVID first, but 2 days later, both our friends and our son started showing symptoms. I didn't think anything of it initially because it was just our son that was sick. But
Can you explain a little bit of a symptom on Xiaohilong?
Yeah, so Xiaohilong got sick first and he had a runny nose. Initially, he was just not sleeping well. He was up a couple times a night, which happens pretty regularly anyways. My parents actually were with Xiaohilong the 2 days that he was very sick. They didn't get sick at all. Xiaohilong was literally held by both of them while his nose was running. The next day, I started getting a sore throat. And I was like, okay, he passed his cold to me. And I really honestly didn't think much of it. It was just that I was noticing that I was feeling a little bit tired. You didn't get sick for a couple days after that. I peaked with my symptoms the next day and I was so sick for about 24 hours. I had to take so much fever reducer. I probably took, I don't know, like the maximum dose that you're allowed to take without a doctor's prescription. And even then, my fever was not going down. You were at work. I had to take care of Xiaohilong. Xiaohilong was bouncing off the walls and totally fine. And I was just trying to survive because I was so sick, but then Xiaohilong just wanted to go outside and play. So I did everything that I could to take him outside and play with him. And then I would go back and I would lay down on the couch and let him play with his toys and he would come sit on me and want me to read books and stuff. But then it was gone. I actually recovered within the 24 hours. But I still had some sinus pressure.
You know why we know we got COVID? I called my friend. She was sick. So I asked my friend, are you guys sick? Like, do you have any symptoms? Because we went to dinner together. The dinner was about an hour, 30 minutes. We were hanging out all day, kind of, but we were outside. But in the dinner, it was inside. And my friend was playing a chopstick, dipping like spicy sauce and sweet sauce to Xiaohilong using his chopsticks, and it wasn't a big deal to me. After that, I called my friend was sick, and then he went to PCR testing. PCR testing was negative. His wife is pregnant currently and she was sick and she went to ER because she felt like super in pain. Coughing, throwing up, just all the weird symptoms. Kaiser tested her positive with COVID.
To give you an idea of what's going on in America right now, it's very, very hard to get a COVID PCR test. Everybody that I talk to, unless you want to pay a lot of money to get a test done, basically pay out of pockets without insurance, it is like $150. Otherwise, if you want to get a test that's provided through the state, it can take about a week. So for us, we just decided that we would do an at-home test since they're more affordable. So we went around to try to find one, and every single store, they weren't available. Like all the CVS's, all the Walgreens, nobody had a COVID test. And I called my friend, and my friend has to get tested every week for work. She ended up having to do an at-home test that she bought a couple months ago. So literally nobody could test for this virus because there was just so many people catching it. What I ended up doing is my mom had a friend that still had a test, and she gave it to me. I tested with it and it came back positive. I've heard some things about the test being a little bit iffy, but then once we found out that our friend also tested positive with the PCR, it further confirmed that the test was probably accurate. And then from there, I think you started feeling sick next, but initially you didn't really have any symptoms.
After I heard that Tiffany got COVID
Then
positive
you started
testing,
feeling
I
sick.
feel weird. I was like, oh wow, like my throat, my body, like it feels
Yeah.
weird. I mean, afternoon time I start feeling it, and at nighttime I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm sick. I was sick for 5 days, pretty much laying on the bed. It was that bad. My body ached. My body just can't handle the pain. It was really bad, so I tried to
Yeah.
sleep it off.
Well, and I think with you too, you still wanted to go work on our RV, which
work
there was
too.
nobody there. It was just him working on the RV. And I think you pushed yourself too much, because for me, I recovered a little bit faster. Obviously, there's a lot of variables that determine how sick somebody gets, but I think for him, he would have been a lot better off staying in bed and fully recovering before going out and pushing himself more. But that is my husband. He is always pushing himself.
Initially, I thought I was gonna be okay. You know, I was like, COVID, it wasn't that bad. And it's really wasn't that bad. Like, my throat was bad because I don't know what happened. Like, my throat was like on fire pretty much for 2-3 days. When I swallow or drink or eat, it feels like something is burning. But I don't have any cough. My head hurts, like sinus issue. You know, my body recovered pretty fast.
Yeah, and I think for me, it was a little different because I didn't have the sore throat, but I had pretty bad sinus pressure and really bad headaches. And so honestly, I just felt like it was a sinus infection. I do feel like if we hadn't tested, we wouldn't be able to determine whether or not we had COVID. It had the same feeling as like a bad flu. Like for example, I got sick a couple months ago. I actually had a fever for 4 days and was much more sick than I was with COVID. But at the end of it, I actually got a rash and I was covered from my face to my chest. It was very odd, but we tested. We tested for the PCR and it was negative.
Both of us were negative.
So it was very like...
We thought we had COVID a long
Yeah.
time ago. So at the end of the day, I guess you do think you do have COVID and some people don't think they don't have COVID.
It's very confusing because I think that a lot of people forget that there's other illnesses too. And for us, we got sick quite a few times, just
year.
mostly from Xiaoheilong picking it up somewhere.
Past year, and then
we were so sure that we had
we
COVID.
tested every single time when we were sick.
Negative.
Every time it's negative.
But I know at least in California, the rates have gone up very significantly. It's spreading, and this is the first time where I know a lot of people personally that currently have or have had COVID in the last month. Whereas the entire time in the last 2 years, I've barely known anybody. At least fortunately for all of everybody that we know around us, they've all been healthy. I think actually your friend, because she was pregnant, she had the worst.
Yeah, she has the worst
of
symptom.
all of the people that we've known.
My friend,
personally.
muscular guy, he's probably like 30 and he is very healthy. He just like, okay, I'm gonna go ER because he had hard time breathing. For me and you, we didn't have hard time breathing at
Not
all.
at all.
And
It wasn't bad, but the sinuses were the pain.
my throat was really bad for 3 days, like fire, something burning in my throat, but that was about it. And Xiaoheilong has runny nose, 1 day, that's it.
And he developed a cough later, about maybe 5 days later. It was a pretty bad cough, but it only lasted a couple days.
I think his cough wasn't that bad. He coughed like 5 times a day.
Yeah, his cough was like 5 times a day.
5 times a day.
But it was that like, it sounded like stuff was in his cough.
Right.
Actually, my entire family in Arizona also tested positive for Thanksgiving, so we actually didn't get to see them for Thanksgiving. But they all, like my entire big family, all tested positive, but they're not vaccinated and they all actually did well with the virus, thank God, as well. They also reported like flu-like symptoms, and none of them got too bad off. I do have a family member with underlying health conditions that's also a smoker. Everybody in my family
she got
was
COVID.
okay.
She recovered too.
She recovered as well.
She didn't get a vaccine.
She didn't get the vaccine. So I think in some situations it's really hard to say who's going to get sick and who's not.
So vaccine works or not?
We're not getting into this topic. We don't know.
That was just a question. That was just an internet question.
You guys can comment below with your thoughts on this. We would love to hear from you guys.
Personally, I hate COVID.
Well, and
a lot of people like COVID because they make a lot of money from COVID. Personally, I hate COVID because it creates a lot of fear to everybody. Not everybody. Most the quarantine restriction, and it get to a point that really extreme, and it's been 2 years and it's still going on. We'll never get back to Taiwan. We would, but we're gonna spend a lot of money, a lot of time just to be quarantined. I totally respect Taiwanese rules, but I feel like in America it's actually really nice. You kind of get your freedom, but yeah, this is the consequence.
You do end up getting sick. But at the end of the day, I think it's really important to just live your life and
just live your life. Stop
try
talking
not
about
to
COVID.
have fear, because I feel like it's
Forget
been
about
very
COVID.
isolating for a lot of people, because it's just all this fear of catching the virus. It really destroys your mental health. So just try to be strong and take care of yourself as best as you can. So we're all doing what we can to try to stay healthy. Some things we can't control. They're just out of our control. But we're good. We're healthy. I feel like we've made a full recovery. Also, your friends both did.
Yeah, both my friends were recovered.
I'm thankful that we're all on the mend, and hopefully we've got those antibodies.
Didn't want to
now.
share this kind of COVID things on internet, but
yeah, we didn't really want to share it, but we wanted to be real with you guys and tell you what's been going on in our lives.
Little Xiao Heilong, he doesn't even understand that masks don't really go on your face. Like, he's used to it. And I remember before the pandemic, when nobody wore a mask in America, everybody just thought that these kids would just try to rip off a mask off of your face because they just think it's weird. They're just kids, so they don't know, and then they just rip off the mask. But Xiao Heilong's never done that. And I think it's just because he's used to them. And I just don't think that's a healthy way for his development. I'm not trying to say that masks are good or bad, but I'm just noticing that this is something that's really affected him. Anyways, throughout the quarantine process, he's learned some new skills, so I wanted to share those skills with you guys today. He's learned his numbers, he's learned counting, he's learned colors. So I'm gonna share those videos with you guys next. Where's pink? Yes. Where's orange? Yes. Where's blue? Where's blue? Blue. Where's purple? Yes.
So thank you guys for listening to our story, and we hope that you guys stay healthy and enjoy your lives. And
COVID's not that bad.
It's not that bad, but that was our situation. So
COVID can be bad.
We don't want to spread misinformation that it can't be bad, because it can be bad. At the end of the day, just try not to worry, because worrying is what's very bad for your health as well. So try to be happy, try to stay healthy, and we'll see you guys in our next episode.
If don't do that.
Ow, 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 ow.